we're doing Moroccan chicken. No, he's doing a lamb one, like a lamb dish.
All right, gentlemen, we are live on YouTube, National Fire Radio YouTube channel. Good evening, fellas. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Fire Radio, and this is our second installment with Fork and Hose Company. AJ Fusco. AJ, how are you, buddy?
I'm pumped, man. I am beyond excited to have somebody else cooking alongside me virtually.
Well, and let's get right over to him, man. Michael Varga, how are you, brother?
I'm good, guys. Thank you for having me. I thought being in Canada, I would come correct and wear my Canadian tuxedo for you today. So I've got the denim, I got the pants and the shirt. I don't know if you know that, but it's the Canadian tuxedo. It's like jeans from head to toe.
That's right. Hey, one second, guys. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, sure. Here we go. I can only imagine where this is headed right now, Michael.
Hey, what's up, eh? Ready to go, eh? Is this how you guys cook in the fire halls, eh?
Hey, that's fantastic.
I had to dig that, man.
That's awesome. I knew I couldn't. I've got something, but I knew I couldn't come at him with anything hockey because when the Rangers beat the Canucks in the finals, I don't know if I could take that over again. So I'm extending the olive branch, if you will. This is what I got special for AJ today.
Oh, here we go.
All right. So I don't know if you can.
Oh my God!
What is it? Brothers? What is it?
Step Brothers.
That's fantastic.
It's you and me. It's you and me, baby. Step. I think we just became best friends.
Yeah, you gotta call me Dragon though.
Absolutely.
We got to get those made up, brother. We're gonna have to get those in the store. Start selling those for you and Michael, man. That's fantastic. Well, Michael, thanks for joining us, man. And AJ, you too, pal. AJ and I have gotten to know each other over some time now, and it was just obvious that we had to do some projects together. And with Fork and Hose Company, he's been putting out incredible content. And Michael, I'm so happy because of AJ. I've gotten to meet you and starting to follow your content and seeing the incredible dishes and what you're doing. But also on top of it too is being a firefighter in Vancouver. And what this is all about really is this is about sharing stories about culture and tradition, talking about the fire service, and the fact that you two bring an added bonus of this, of being chefs and bringing incredible food into the firehouse is just something I'm so happy and passionate about to share with our viewers and so on. So I'm so thankful to have you both here tonight on the show. A couple quick things. Let's talk about what we're doing tonight. I mean, we're going to get into some storytelling and so on. AJ, why don't you start us off? What's the theme tonight? Where are we headed?
So, unlike the last time when I was the only one cooking, I had full control over what was going to be made, right? I thought it would be cool to kind of extend that invite, so to speak, to the guest that was coming on. And so I asked Michael, to either pick a favorite dish or pick a favorite cuisine, something that's maybe requested a lot in the firehouse, that kind of thing. And he came up with Middle Eastern cuisine, which is really cool because I love it. I like to cook it. I don't cook it often. So it's giving me an opportunity to kind of jump back into that style. And I'm pumped.
But it's definitely not a cuisine you find in a lot of firehouses.
No, not at all. So I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this, because it is really close to me, this cuisine. Being in the firehouse, I remember making it with my crew one day, and it just dawned on me, like, this is awesome. And it was a crew decision to do it one day, and then it just kept evolving ever since. Goes back to also my mom's from Egypt, so I'm in love with the food, with the flavor palette of like North Africa, Middle East, the Mediterranean. So for me, this is really close to me, and I love sharing it with the other brothers and sisters, and to see them cooking it in the fire halls is awesome. And like you said, it's not something you see a ton in the fire halls. So hoping to show how easy it can be, and it maybe becomes something new in the arsenal for some of the people watching or other firefighters that want to try something new.
Jeremy, is he saying fire hose? Hall? What is it?
It's a fire hall.
Hall.
Yes, AJ.
We call them fire halls.
Yeah.
Here we go. So you guys gonna spar all night just so I know what I have to rep?
I already dropped the gloves, bro.
I saw that. You guys are too pretty to fight, both of you. You're too pretty to fight.
All these teeth are fake from hockey.
You see this?
I love that.
Have that flow, man. Both of you got hair.
Well, listen, I think the one I don't know much about Middle Eastern cuisine, but two things I know: tons of spices and flavor. But the other thing too is it's a dish or dishes to be shared, right? Which I think mates up perfectly with the Firehouse kitchen table. It's more family style. It's more using your hands, pick and pull type food, and so on. So I think it's a great lineup tonight. Michael, why don't you tell us where we're headed with ingredients, and AJ hop in, and then we'll talk about what you guys, the dishes you're each going to make tonight that are similar to each other but very different, and then we'll get cruising. Where are we headed?
Do it, Mike. You go.
All right, so we're heading to Morocco. We're doing like a chicken tagine tonight. I've spiced my chicken. It's a spice called Ras Al Hanout. So many different versions of the spice. I can break it down for you later on. If somebody wants to DM me, I can tell you exactly what's in it. But there's about 18 different spices in it. So many different variations.
Do you make
it
yourself?
Do that. So yes, I do. I do it myself. I've sort of been tinkering around with it for a while, and I've come up with a combination that I like, and more than happy to share it if anybody wants it. And so I'm going to mix that with, so it's got a little bit of spice, a little bit of smoke, a little bit of heat. I'm going to mix that with some apricots, some peaches, a little bit of feta cheese, a little bit of dukkha, which is more Egypt, but it's a pistachio blend with spices and seeds. So we're going to cook that in the pan, cover it up, braise it for a little bit. That's where the tagine comes in. I'm going to throw together a mint and beet hummus, show you how easy a hummus is to do. And if my daughter comes in to give me a hand, we're going to whip up a flatbread here because I need my new chef to get our hands on that dough.
I love it. Good deal. AJ, what are we doing in your kitchen?
So I'm doing some things kind of similar, but different at the same time. I'm doing lamb. I'm going to do lamb kebabs. I got this lamb from some friends of mine that I actually used to work for at the first restaurant I worked at. They started it's kind of like a butcher delivering to your door kind of system. And they gave me some lamb sirloin, so I cubed that up. I marinated it overnight. I don't know if you guys saw that on my Instagram. And then I put it on some skewers. And then instead of making a hummus, which is made with chickpeas, I'm just going to roast them. I'm going to keep it simple because I don't want to make an ass of myself and mess up on National Fire Radio. So I'm going to roast them, give them some texture, and then I'm going to toss those with a za'atar seasoning, which is similar to the dukkha, which Michael's making, except this doesn't have doesn't have nuts. So it's got some common spices, but then there's a couple kind of curveballs that some people might not have had before. I'm making a labna, which is a strained yogurt. I'm just using straight up Greek yogurt, which you can find in any supermarket now, and quick pickled onions. So like there's quick pickled onions, and then this is like the quicker version of that.
Oh, I love that. So I think a couple things that stands out real quick as you guys starting to get things going in the kitchen. One, lamb. Not often a Firehouse protein that you find on the menu often. I think lamb is one of those meats that probably people are a little intimidated by, and it's a little more gamier than typical Firehouse bland chicken, no?
Oh, 100%. I've never cooked lamb in the Firehouse. I can attest to that.
You have never?
I've never done it because one of my partners doesn't like it. So, it's kind of, actually, no, I lied. I made lamb burgers once.
Right.
I got beef and lamb, did the beef burger for him. Lamb was for the other guy.
And how did those go over? How did the lamb go over?
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think anything
you're right, like people get intimidated by it, but it's such a good protein. It's so good, so much flavor.
Right now I'm toasting up my my sesame seeds and my cumin seeds for the za'atar seasoning. just a dry pan. Highly recommend you guys use whole spices when possible. You know, when you get the pre-ground stuff, it loses its life real quick. So if you can get whole, that's even better. I'm going old school. My mother got me this, a friggin' mortar and pestle. Okay.
That's crazy. I was just gonna show you this one too. This was my grandmother brought this over from Egypt. Like,
wow.
And then so it was passed down to my mom, and she gave it to me. And yeah, absolutely, get a mortar and pestle and grind up the spices. It makes such a difference.
So I think that's cool, right? It's one of those utensils that's not used every day in the kitchen, but I think that what I like about it is you both have a story behind it, right? It's one of those items that gets handed down, right? And so that leads me to believe that you both are inspired by the earlier generations in your family to cook and get in the kitchen.
I'm like a big sucker for like heirloom things, and one of I don't know about your firehouses, but there's a cast iron skillet in mine. Nobody knows how old it is. No, literally, nobody knows. Nobody can say, "Hey, this guy brought it in." It's warped. It sucks for heat retention. Like it just doesn't work efficiently. But I'm having a hard time replacing it, honestly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. There's that attachment to it.
Yeah, and I feel like, that's part of cooking is, learning and sharing like traditions and that kind of thing, which is cool. Like what you do, as far as sharing, your culture in the firehouse. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Michael, where are you headed right now? What do you got going on in the bowl?
Okay, so right now I'm starting that flatbread. I can't find a teaspoon, so I got my daughter's Little Mermaid spoon here, and we're gonna use that. I'm gonna get her in here in a sec. So right now I've just mixed a cup and a half of flour with a cup of warm water in a bowl, little bit of sugar and a little bit of baking powder, and the sugar just helps get it softer. So I'm going to mix that together just with a fork till it comes together. Add in about another cup of flour and then knead it for about 5 minutes. Place it in oil. It's almost like if you're making like a pizza dough or a bread dough, but there's no yeast, so it doesn't have to rise. And also with AJ using that za'atar spice, if you wanted to use that in this, it's perfect. Just dump some of the za'atar in there, and now you have a za'atar flatbread, and it's dynamite.
Yeah, I need that recipe, man. I want to share that.
Oh yeah, I'll send that over for you for sure.
So
it ends up being
typically are not standout firehouse dishes, right? So how do we entice the guys? How do we entice the companies to try different cuisine and get away from the spaghetti and meatballs and the chicken parm and so on? How do we get this out there that there's other types of cuisine that is full of flavor, delicious, typically more healthy for you, and so on. I mean, AJ, what do you? I know you. Sometimes you have some battles in getting food in the kitchen, and sometimes you have to scale back. I think Michael has a little bit more of a,
receptive.
Yeah, right.
To me, it's like baby steps. It's kind of like how I started cooking a little healthier in the firehouse. You got to take little steps. So I'm not going to go out and cook a full-blown like Thai meal. I did that once, and when I opened up the fish sauce, I got what the hell is that smell? And so I learned my lesson there.
That's universal across the board.
What's that?
That's universal across the board. Same thing in Vancouver. It's got so much flavor. The fish sauce has so much flavor, but man, that smell is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it's almost like what I do. I like to
It's fermented
fish.
Fish, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's like one technique I use is wait for whoever's in the kitchen to walk out. If there's an ingredient that I'm worried about, when they walk out of the kitchen, I'll kind of sneak it in and hope they don't pick it up. And then when they go at the end of the meal, what the hell is what is so good about this? What is that spice or what is that ingredient that I taste that I can't recognize? Then I'll tell them maybe.
Yeah, that's the anchovy in the Caesar salad, right? I mean, that's
exactly.
Yeah,
that is like the biggest.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Michael, what about you? I mean, I think, we pre-gaming, we were talking about, your Firehouse and what you guys do, and we're going to get into all that. But, it seems like you might have a little more laid back point of view with what you can feed your crews. How do you approach your company and say, hey, we're making a chicken tagine tonight with roasted beets, and I mean, it's a little more foreign than what I know in the Firehouse.
You know what? You're right. I think we've moved towards the culture in Vancouver anyway has really gone that healthy route. So don't get me wrong, like we absolutely eat our chicken parm and our spaghetti and meatballs, and the big Sunday dinners,
Sure.
Bring in a roast or a prime rib or do something like that with the crews.
Nice.
But it's pretty much widely accepted to try new things, and a big thing right now are glory bowls. So just, rice or quinoa with a ton of vegetables and a sauce and a protein. And a lot of times that's what we're eating for lunch. We've really sort of gone that West Coast kind of style where it's, not quite California where there's kale with everything, but we've adopted that like kind of healthy lifestyle. So more and more, even like the officers and the captains are really, they're more open to it now anyway.
Yeah.
But we still love the old school meat and potatoes for sure. It's just the balance.
Real quick, I just want to talk about these chickpeas.
Yeah, hop in.
So I got canned chickpeas. I think they're perfectly fine. You could obviously go ahead and buy dried and cook them down yourself, but canned chickpeas are perfect for this. But what I did was I drained them, and then I actually spread them out on paper towel just to dry them out, because I want that crispy texture. So if you took a can of chickpeas and, dumped it on top of a sheet pan, threw it in the oven, there's a lot of moisture, a lot of, extra liquid that's on there. You're going to steam them, right? You're not going to get that crispy texture you're looking for. So I dried them out. I don't know if the camera can see that, but these are pretty dry. And Jeremy, you know the drill, right? We always olive oil or whatever fat you're using. We're going to season them in the bowl, then put them on the sheet pan. Don't just dump them on the pan and little drizzle here and there. Doesn't work.
That's a good point. I mean, seasoning everything, right? And season as you go too. Is important. I mean, I think, a lot of times I'm a firm believer that when your food's delivered at the table, it should be seasoned appropriately so it's ready to be eaten. And so on. So the way that you've always done it, and I've adopted since talking to you, is one, the squirt bottles, love them. For like the olive oil, the squirt bottle, absolutely love it. Do it all the time.
Yeah.
And then seasoning in a bowl and then putting it on the sheet tray. It's good. Michael, you got a helper, brother. What are we doing?
I do. So the bread is getting made here. This is my daughter Lily, and
Hi, Lily.
she knows how to do the dough. She knows how to roll it. She gets in with me with most of the Instagram cooking videos that I do. And
Awesome.
She's actually taken over. It's not even my channel. It's not even my page anymore. It's hers. So she's coming in to show us how it's done, show how the flatbread gets going, and then she's gonna probably run off and do something. But needed her here for this so we could get everything together. So I'm gonna prepare the hummus while I'm doing that.
Absolutely.
So,
why don't you talk to AJ's jumping in on his chickpeas? Are you hopping in on yours?
Yeah, so I've got just drained chickpeas, and I got drained chickpeas in the food processor. So 1 can of chickpeas, about 3 small to medium beets. They're roasted. So boiled, skin has been peeled off so they're nice and soft. Added in a little bit of garlic, some mint, probably about 10 mint leaves. I'm gonna put in a big spoon of tahini. Tahini is, you know what, this is, I don't use measurements all too often. So if you like a little bit of tahini, put a little. If you like a lot, put a lot. It's
sesame seeds, right? Crushed down.
Yeah. So this is what I got right here. It's a sesame seed paste. So I'm gonna put in a nice big spoonful of that with some salt. I'm gonna put a little bit of salt, like AJ was talking about seasoning. I'm gonna taste it, season it again, lemon juice. And I agree with you, Jeremy, about like when your food comes to the table, like you shouldn't have to add anything to it.
Right.
And I gotta know, what's the ketchup situation like in over in New York? Like if you're cooking your Sunday,
Ketchup's on the table. Ketchup's on the table for everything. And it drives me nuts. Really does. AJ, you?
It's not on the table for anything by any means. I think it has its place. I think, it's like I need it on my home fries. I need it on my bacon, egg, and cheese. There's things that it should be on, but there's also things that it shouldn't. We actually just had this conversation last tour. We made brats, but we were talking about hot dogs. And one guy I work with has to have ketchup on his hot dog. This guy's, he's got to be late 50s.
My man, it's mustard on a hot dog. Mustard and kraut. That's
right.
It. Mustard and kraut.
And
mustard.
Kraut, listen, I love kraut. Believe me, I love kraut. But, if you don't want kraut, I get it. Mustard, obviously. Ketchup, I think 12 is probably the cutoff. I don't know, somewhere around there. But
so yeah, we're divided in our household here. My daughter and I we're not really on the ketchup train, but my son and my wife are. And I remember way back because I learned to cook from my dad. He was he's self-taught, just kind of figured it out as he went. And it's a long story for another day, but he left Hungary in 1956, and how he made his way across Europe was cooking in kitchens and like picking up odd jobs, and that's how he survived. And then so I sort of picked up that skill from him. But I remember my now wife, we're over at his place, and this is a long time ago, long time ago, and she asked for ketchup, and then the look he had in his eyes, and then he just said, you're lucky I like you. So you're lucky I like you. And now, and he did. He absolutely loves her.
I think it's kind of equivalent to like somebody asking for a salt when, if you go to a restaurant or even the Firehouse, somebody's like, hey, can you pass the salt? All right, two things. Yeah. Either you like
AJ, what do you got?
Or I underseasoned it, and like you see me now, listen, I'm home, so I'm going to lick this spoon as many times as I want. But I'm tasting it as I go. If it needs salt or needs something else, I'll add it. That's a huge part of cooking, I think, is
absolutely. All right, so just gonna get that dough. That dough's all tacky, so it's done right now. Lily finished kneading it, so I'm just gonna roll it up into this ball right here. So it's just a nice little, it's nice and pliable. Just gonna put it in a bowl with a little bit of olive oil, and it's just gonna sit until we're ready to roll it out. So in the bowl, we'll cover it up, a little bit of olive oil.
You gotta let it sit in a warm spot, or because there's no yeast, it really doesn't matter?
No, we're just letting the gluten relax. That's all we're letting it do. So when we roll it out, it's just gonna stretch nicely.
Gotcha.
That's called a non-leavened bread, right?
Sorry?
It's considered like a non-leavened bread. Is that?
Yeah, exactly. So that's on the back burner now. And I can get the chicken going right now too. So I got the chicken. It's been marinating in that razzle and spice. A little bit of mint, a little bit of cilantro. I've sauteed off a little bit of shallot and garlic, and I'm gonna add this in and just brown it up.
So you got the cold marinade, right? Or spice rub, red spice rub?
Yeah.
Is it okay? And then you're gonna add warmed shallots and garlic that have been sauteed to the. Yeah,
the shallots and the garlic have just been sauteed to soften up, become translucent, release some of the flavor. And then I'm gonna turn up the pan, add the chicken, and I'm just gonna try to get just sear the spice rub on it, give it a nice crispy texture with the spice rub. Then we're gonna add in some of the fruit, add in a little bit of the feta, maybe about a half a cup of chicken stock. We don't want it to cover the chicken because we're not boiling it. We just want it to braise it. Just braise it slightly. It doesn't take long because the chicken thigh is boneless, skinless. It doesn't take long to cook. They are very forgiving, so if you do overcook them, they can still stay juicy. But that way, it's going to create a nice little sauce for it as well. And then we'll add in some daca and some pickled onions and the fresh herbs after. So you have the sweet from the stone fruit, the fresh herbs, the spiciness of the rub, and then you have the feta cheese, which gives it that like briny. You can use a halloumi cheese as well, which I know, I think I've talked to AJ about halloumi before. It's a fantastic cheese if you haven't tried it. It's Yes, absolutely. It's super dense.
Yeah. Good. AJ, what do we got going on, bud?
I just want to talk about these pickles.
Do it.
Pickled onions. So to me, they're perfect for the Firehouse because, everybody knows when you're cooking in the Firehouse, there's so many variables. You could be training all morning, or you might be busy doing building inspections, or you're busy running calls, whatever it is. There's always like that one thing in a dish that kind of takes it and kind of elevates it. And I've talked to you before about this. I think I talked about it in the last episode. Salt, fat, acid, right? Those three components kind of bring a dish together. So there's components where you could get those salt, fat, or acid from. And in this case, pickled onions are going to bring the acid. And they don't have to sit in a refrigerator for a week. I put some lime juice. I ended up adding a little bit of red wine vinegar, but they're going to sit here for, the next 20, 30 minutes, whatever it is. And there's just enough to kind of cut through the fattiness, the richness of the lamb. And they're perfect on like tacos, nachos, a burger. We talked about burgers before. Put some of these on a burger. It's like those little things, and it took me 3 seconds.
It's a pop. It's just a pop of flavor, man.
Exactly.
I love pickled vegetables. I
Absolutely.
love pickled onion. Like it adds so much flavor. Just a big flavor pop. I love it.
And I think when it comes to the Firehouse, you might have to explain it at first. Hey, this is a pickled onion. Probably.
Yeah. And AJ, just real quick, how'd you do it again? Just give me the rundown. What's in the bowl?
Thin sliced onion. I like red onion just for the color, but you could use white.
Well, they're sweeter too, no?
What's that?
They're sweeter too, aren't they?
They're a little sweeter, and they, I don't know, they offer like a meatier, I don't know that's probably not even the right term, but they're just a more robust onion. You could use white onion if you want something a little milder. Salt, I like to add the salt first. Listen, you got to get your hands dirty, right? Massage them. You're gonna massage your onions with the salt, right? And that's gonna help break them down a little bit. The salt's gonna draw moisture out, so now they're gonna soften up a little bit, but retain their crunchiness. And then the vinegar. What
do you use, like red wine vinegar?
You could use. I think it kind of depends on what you're cooking. If you're using this maybe for barbecue, I'd probably go like cider vinegar route. But
okay.
I don't know what everybody's pantry's like, especially in the Firehouse. I have probably 4 different vinegars, right? If you only have red wine vinegar or you only have white vinegar, use it. Use what you have.
Right.
Either way, it's going to come out delicious regardless. But like for this application, I used red wine vinegar just because I think it'll pair well.
Good.
I like red wine vinegar as well for the pickled onion for sure.
And it adds a little color too.
Absolutely. And if you have a little bit of a shred of beet or a little bit of beets, you put a little bit in that mixture, and then it just stains the onions color even more red, so you get that pop of color as well.
Yeah. Michael, you got your chicken going in that skillet?
Yeah, you can see that here.
Are you searing it before you braise it?
Yeah, see, I'm searing it before I braise it to keep that flavor inside. So I want to have a nice crust on the outside before the inside cooks. And then I'm going to add in the liquid, cover it up with the fruit, a little bit of the feta, and then all those flavors are going to melt together. I'm going to save a little bit of the fruit, a little bit more feta just for the plating afterwards, just to finish it off. But it's just to add the depths of the layers to it, the depth of flavor.
Mike, have you had a problem with, getting your crews to eat chicken thighs rather than, chicken breast or just dark meat in general?
You know what? I haven't found that. I think unless we're doing like a chicken parm or even with curries and stuff like that, we use chicken thighs for almost everything in our hall. With my crew anyway. So
the last place I worked at, we did our chicken parm with thighs. We boned them out, brined them.
Yeah.
And made them like your traditional chicken parm. Try it. But I've got guys that are, I wouldn't call them picky, but they prefer, chicken breast. But I'm always interested to know, those kind of obstacles that you run into.
I think that's totally an optics thing too, right? I think
Right.
the breast looks cleaner. It's a lot friendlier looking, right? You know, you go to restaurants and most of the time you get a chicken breast. If you're getting some kind of chicken burger or a chicken dish, is usually a breast. So I think people are just used
And
to
truly, in the Firehouse, a lot of guys, they cook until it's well done. And so, like, when's the last time you ever had a juicy chicken breast in the Firehouse? You don't, but you can't hurt it, right? Like me, I like the part of the bird that gets dragged on the ground. I mean, the bottom of the bird is the best part, right? I mean, it's the dark meat, it's the oysters, it's the
ass. Is that what you're talking about?
This went from a cooking show to dark real quick.
Yeah.
But anyway, AJ, what are you doing? You firing up that mortar and pestle? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I got my chickpeas working now. I just checked them. Still not getting the color that I want. I got it high too, 400 degrees. Remember that whole conversation?
You like to cook high.
Right. So the problem is if you have a low temperature on these, they're going to probably dry out before you get the color on that you look for. So I'm going to get going with the mortar and pestle. I've got toasted sesame and cumin seeds in here. Going back to the whole spice thing, it's important that you toast your whole spices because that's going to bring out the essential oils in them and just add a layer of flavor. I don't know if is this annoying, this sound?
No, you're fine, man.
Good? Okay. Yeah, so this can be done in a food processor. If you don't have a mortar and pestle, especially I don't have one in the Firehouse. I don't. I have a little food processor that's perfect for this application. You could do that. The thing I like about mortar and pestle, I can control a lot more the texture of what I want. Plus, it smells really damn good. You know,
yeah.
I'm sitting here, you know, the traditional way to make pesto, you know, the Italian sauce is in a mortar and pestle. You know, pesto means paste.
Yeah, when you toast those spices too, you're waking them up, right? You're waking up oils.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so, like
Michael, I'm sorry, AJ, go ahead, bud.
No, I'm just saying, like right now, the smell already, and I didn't even add anything else. Is incredible.
And I think that's part of the conversation in the kitchen too. Listen, when that kitchen smells good, everybody comes looking, right? Everybody comes in and goes, "What are you making? What smells good?" You know? And,
when's it on? Is it ready? When's it on?
Yeah, right.
Wait. Do you have the hoverers, right? I call them the hoverers, right?
The hoverers.
It's the guys where they're doing this. Oh, what do you got? Oh.
Yeah.
And I have to physically sometimes remove them from the kitchen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you're not helping, you're in the way.
Yeah. Michael, I got a question for you. AJ and we got a friend of ours that we know, Rob Meyer. He's chiming in on some of the chat. Rob owns a Leatherworks company. The guy's a home run of a Firehouse.
Amazing stuff, man.
Ridgeway Leatherworks. But he's got a question. Okay. He's got how can we incorporate healthy alternatives into the Firehouse meal without getting immediate pushback from the guys in the crew?
You know, honestly, I think it starts with portion size too, right? If it's not available, then you're just not going to eat it. So I remember when I first started 15 years ago, it would be 2 burgers a guy with 2 loaves of bread on the table and a pound of butter and then like all the fries you can eat. And it's just slowly over time, it's now, you know, it's 1 burger a guy and usually there's a big salad with it. Even start going like half fries, half salad, just incorporating those greens and the vegetables into it. I know there's a big thing AJ was talking about. The guys don't like to see any green on their meals, but just even incorporating like fresh herbs and stuff, it really wakes up a plate, gives it better flavor. And honestly, I think a few rounds of just adding a few things in that might be a little bit foreign, but taste awesome to show them that it doesn't have to be full of grease and massive portions to be good.
Yeah.
I think a cuisine like what we're doing now, like this Middle Eastern style, is a perfect example.
Totally.
How you can do that because you're adding tons of flavor, right? Without a lot of calories. Like this stuff doesn't add up like, calorie wise, but when you eat it, you know, your brain's going to explode because there's flavor, but you're not adding tons of fat. You know, you're not melting butter on it and putting it all over. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you want to cook healthy, it's got to taste delicious. Hands down.
Yeah.
That's the end of the story, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And you know everything that's going into this too, right? Like you see this, it's going to be a big plate of food. You have your chicken, there's vegetables, there's fruit, there's herbs, even the flatbread that you're doing with this, you know exactly what's in it. It's just flour, water, a little bit of baking powder, a little bit of sugar. There's no additives or preservatives or anything like that, where, you know, sometimes you see that loaf of bread that you have in the cupboard in your house or in the fire hall, and it's been there for 6 weeks and there's still no mold on it, and you're like, how is this possible? Right?
The answer.
So you know that. So even, you know, I know on our side of town, there's a lot of guys that are just like, oh yeah, just in general, there's a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, I'm gluten free, or I don't eat carbs, or whatever it is. But you know exactly what you're getting here. Like, the carbs are good for you, right? You just know that you're not getting a ton of preservatives and all that bad stuff in with it.
Yeah. Good points. Very good points. All right. So where are we, Michael? Give me a rundown real quick. I know you got your chicken going.
Yeah.
Your helper has exited stage right, but she needed your bread, and that's resting. What else we got going on?
So I'm just cutting up some of the apricots and peaches right now. So you can use anything. I've got fresh just because it was just at the store today. You can use dried apricots. You can use dates. You can use pomegranate. Any type of currants, even raisins, you can use for this. Toss them in. It just gives it a bit of sweetness and counteracts.
All dried fruit, though, right? It's all.
This is fresh right now, but you can use dried or fresh.
So you're using fresh right now?
Yeah, I'm using fresh. So it almost, like, when it cooks down while it's braising, it almost becomes like a chutney.
Okay.
In there.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, it's basically, it's a blank template. You can use whatever you want in there. It's the way the tagine works is you have the protein, and you start layering the vegetables and the fruit and everything on top, and then that's the way it cooks. I'm not using a traditional tagine here. I'm just using a pan, and I'm just going to cover it with a lid. But yeah, so that's going to go in. We're going to meld the flavors a little bit. I'm going to deglaze the pan with a little bit of stock because of all the good bits that have hit the bottom of the pan from that spice rub, and we're going to cover it and literally 12 minutes, and it'll be done.
Awesome.
So this is something that you can do quick in the fire hall as well, right? Like this is legitimately a 30-minute meal.
Good.
Quoting Rachel Ray.
Okay, where are we?
So I just want to talk about one ingredient that's in this za'atar seasoning. So we've got, right now, up until this point, we've got sesame seeds, cumin, salt, pepper, lemon zest, oregano. I'm sorry, thyme. The key ingredient here is something that you can find in most supermarkets. It's called sumac, and it's got a beautiful color. I don't know if you can see that really well, but it's kind of like a purple color, and it's a dried berry that's super tart. So it's almost like adding citric acid, but it's
not like a lemony taste. No?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like freaking awesome on like cut up fresh fruit, but that's like a key ingredient here that sounds fancy, sounds like, oh my God, I got to go to Lebanon to find this. You don't. You could get this at your local supermarket. It's not really that exotic, but that's going to add like that lemony tart flavor that kind of like makes you want to keep eating. Those times when you eat something and you're like, oh, I can't stop eating.
Well, it's that background note that makes it so good, right? You don't know what it is.
Right. And if I gave this to you, you're not going to be like, oh man, you use sumac, right?
Right.
It's just like that background, like you said, that background note.
I've seen in a few restaurants around here, actually, chefs putting sumac on fried chicken with pickles. And it's lights out. It's so good.
That sounds good.
Yeah, just dust your fried chicken with a little bit of it. It's awesome.
A buddy of mine that I went to culinary school with, shout out to Stephen El Hassam. He's Lebanese background. His family owns a bagel shop in Hoboken, which I'm sure you're familiar with, Jeremy, called O Bagels. But he also opened up an Arab taco spot called Loquito. So when he opened that up, I was like, the flavors sound like they'll work phenomenally. So I went. He does za'atar, which is what I just made here, and he puts them on his French fries, and like, I mean, lights out. Like you could
My
eat.
mouth's watering already, man. I mean, that sounds
You
fantastic.
got perfect combination: French fries and like this Arabic seasoning, and it's like it blew my mind. I'm like, dude, you killed it, you know?
Yeah. AJ, where are you going with this spice rub that you're doing? Is that going on the lamb? Where's this headed?
This is gonna get tossed with the chickpeas, right?
Oh, okay. Okay.
I'm gonna toss them with the chickpeas.
So you're roasting the chickpeas first, and then the spice rub's gonna go on.
Yes, yeah, only because, you know, when you're roasting at 400 degrees, you run the risk of burning things, you know, and I feel like this spice doesn't need much to add flavor, so I'm gonna toss them at the end. And I didn't even salt the chickpeas. Normally I would season them, but this has that sumac and salt in it, so I want to be able to control it a lot better.
Okay, good. Michael, you got your mint leaves going?
And then I'm going to finish the dish.
Yeah. I got
Okay.
You can see this right now. This is a great trick with mint and basil. If you're cutting them and you want to give them a chiffonade, it's called. I'm not by any means a chef or trained, but if you stack them together, like, so I don't know if you can see that, and then you roll them up tight. Roll them up tight, like so, and then you just, with your knife, just run it through, and it just makes little ribbons. And then it just becomes.
AJ, we lost your cutting board camera, just so you know.
Oh, shit.
So, Michael, where are you headed with the mint? Is the mint going in? That's going with the roasted beets? The roasted beet?
Yeah, I've already got mint in with the beets. But I'm gonna finish the chicken dish with mint, cilantro, some of the pistachio dukkha, and pickled onions, like AJ's got going. Because
How pronounced is the cilantro in your dish? Because I think it tastes terrible.
You know what?
I'm one of those guys that genetically can't eat cilantro.
It's dish
tastes like soap. Tastes like soap, right? Dish soap.
No, it's terrible. I really like. I can't stomach it. It's terrible.
So it's not, the thing with that is I added in at the very end. So in the Firehouse, because actually one of my good buddies, Brandon, he can't eat it either. So I'll leave it out, and then sometimes it's one of those things where guys can add it on if they want.
Yeah,
the guys in the house can take it and put it on. So I'm not trying to ruin anybody's meal.
No, I get that, of course.
But I know, like, cilantro, it's like you hate it or you love it, and that's it. Like, there's no middle ground.
They say it's genetics.
It is. My mom's the same way. And then
you don't eat it either?
No, I eat it. I love it.
Oh, okay.
My mother, it tastes like dish soap. And then the crew, I just got moved. The crew that I'm on now, one guy, he doesn't. It tastes like dish soap. So now
the first couple of times I had it, I didn't understand why it tastes so bad. I said, I don't understand. Everybody loves cilantro. I mean, they're loaded up. I think the first time I had it was on tacos, and then we had it on fajitas one night. And I'm like, I don't understand why you guys think this tastes so good. I go, it's terrible.
But did you know that it was the cilantro, or did you say like this dish sucks in general?
No, I knew it was the cilantro.
Okay.
I knew it was the cilantro, and I was like, I don't understand it. I go, I don't understand why everybody, because people rave, put cilantro on it, raves about it, like it's so good, and I'm like, it tastes terrible, you know?
I'm just like, you're crazy, man. Like, this is terrible.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I do want to talk about real quick too. Usually I do a couple beers. I'm doing red tonight because you guys got me in the spirit of this. Listen, we've been cruising away, man. This has been a lot of fun. We got a lot more to go, but I just cheers because I think it's been.
Oh, I gotta get a yeah.
Oh, geez, you let his glass go empty.
Yeah.
A wine glass? What is that? What are you drinking out of?
This?
Yeah.
This is my dad's actually.
Oh, nice.
This
Love that.
Old
That's cool.
School,
Nice.
Old school. He passed away. God, it was been about 10 years ago now, 10, 11 years, and just found these glasses all wrapped up in like a newspaper in a box. So these are the vino glasses.
Cheers.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
But AJ, cheers. Absolutely. Thank you for tonight. This has been fantastic. AJ, real quick before we get back on track with the cooking, isn't it customary in the Italian household to just drink wine out of the little water glass? I mean,
yes, yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Nothing fancy.
You know what it is, and it's like, to me, it's like a moment thing. you know, like I go to my father's house, I'll sit down, and that's all I need. You know what I mean? But if I'm sitting down to a nice meal, I don't know. I think I kind of want a regular wine glass. You know what I mean?
I get it. Of course. No, it's a time and place, man.
Right,
Sit in mom's kitchen. Sit in mom's kitchen. The wine tastes just as good in any glass you put it in.
Yeah, you can put it in a red Solo cup, whatever.
That's right.
If there's a red and white checkered tablecloth, it could be in a little water glass. It's fine.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so here we go. AJ's doing lamb kebabs, roasted chickpeas with the spice rub that you just did in the mortar and pestle. You're going to do a labna, right, which is a yogurt. You're going to get to that, right? And you use pickled onions.
Yes, sir.
Chicken tagine, roasted beet and mint hummus, right? Charcoal lamb pops, and a flat that your daughter helped you with. So we're about halfway through right now. You guys are crushing it here. Who's taking a lead? Something they got to talk about. Let's roll.
I think we need to talk about the fact that Michael won Chopped.
Yeah. Good way to go.
Because that's a show that I've always wanted to be on, and I kind of envy the fact that he was on it and the fact that he won. So why don't we talk about that?
Thank you.
I love it. Well, let's say this, right? Both of you have been on network television cooking, right? AJ, you were on Triple G Guys Grocery Games, right? Yep. You won, then you went back to the championship round, and well, you saw what the parking lot looked like after.
I'm sorry, what? It's breaking up. I didn't hear that part.
Right. but listen, and then Michael, you were on what? You were on I have it, MasterChef Canada and Top Chef, and on Top Chef you were a champion.
So Chop Canada, I won, and then
Chop.
MasterChef. I saw the parking lot halfway through that, so I got from the parking lot. So
I'm sitting here in awe because my house is a big Food Network house. My wife and I, my kids, my daughter Paige and Lily are really getting into cooking now. They're 12 and 13, and especially my 13-year-old has really been like stepping up in the kitchen and making her own food and making us food. And it's fun to see because I love the creativity that comes with it, you know, and they're having fun with it. And we're a foodie house. And so I see the value in all of this. And that's why when I got mixed up with AJ and he said, you know, I kind of pitched it to him and said, let's do a cooking show on YouTube, like on the channel, we'll do it. And Michael, I mean, you've fit right in tonight. This has been great, man.
This is awesome, guys.
But so where are we going, Michael? You got a bunch of things to do yet? No, you got your flatbread resting. You got your chicken. Yeah. Are we on that yet?
I don't know. I'm just focused on the wine right now. I got my the tagine's cooking. I got the timer on. The bread will be the last thing I do. We'll roll it out. We'll get it on a hot pan or a grill. I'll probably do it on the pan today just so I can stay in here. The hummus is all ready to go. I just need to blend it up in the food processor right behind me. So that can be done at any time. I got the pan warming up to do the lamb pops. I got that right here. So these are, I've got this black charcoal rub on it. And see if I can show that to you. This stuff is fantastic.
Yeah, what do you mean black charcoal rub? What is that?
It's don't see that every day, right?
Nah.
Sorry?
AJ said you don't see that every day.
No, so I use that too. Is I use it on the meat, and then I put a little on my face too when I come home from work if we didn't have a fire, and then my wife gives me the day off for the kids.
Nice.
Yo, I'm telling you right now, National Fire Radio should come out with that face
charcoal rub.
Charcoal face rub.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. It's a thing. Yeah.
That's awesome. AJ, what do you got going on, bub?
So I pulled out
up for a minute there.
I pulled out the chickpeas. They got nice and crispy. You can kind of hear it, right? And then I just a little more olive oil, the za'atar seasoning, toss them up, and those can sit aside. They don't need to be ready nice and hot or anything like that. I got a cast iron grill preheating. Normally I'd love to do these outside, but obviously for video purposes, I'm gonna do them inside.
We're not there yet. I gotta start getting camera guys to go to your houses to do this. I mean,
man.
You know, we're growing here, AJ. We're growing.
You gotta have a drone come in and do the drone shot and all the rest.
Hold on, I'm gonna show you my sous chef. Come here.
Oh yeah.
This is
Cutie.
Ava. Do you like to
Yeah.
cook? Yeah.
Uh,
Hi, Ava.
There you go.
Say night night.
Night night.
Hi, night.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I'm
Lily, you want to see Ava?
Oh,
oh, gone.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right.
And Jess. Hi, Jess.
hi.
Yeah. So
So-
just at the firehouse, we have
So
out of the kitchen all day.
So AJ, I wanted to ask you, what's your thought on like fats, like oils and butters, and because I keep a jar of bacon fat and I cook a lot with it. Like I don't like that, to me that stuff is liquid gold, right? I'm gonna sear my lamb. I'm gonna cook my lamb in the bacon fat. I don't-
Man, really? That sounds insane. I never even thought of that.
Yeah, like it's I got my buddy Kyle on my crew right now. If he could do it, bacon in every meal, we would have bacon in every meal. So like we always have a substantial amount of bacon fat kicking around, and I put it in a mason jar and then use that sometimes in lieu of your avocado oil or your veg oil or anything that I like, an oil that I would cook with.
Right.
So
Because I have it running in my veins, I'm pretty much an olive oil only kind of guy.
Yeah.
But every oil kind of has its purpose. So you shouldn't be deep frying in olive oil, right? You want a high smoke
Right.
point, neutral oil kind of thing. As far as the bacon fat goes, like you're only adding more flavor, and I think if it matches up with what you're making, by all means do it. I went to Mississippi one year. A cousin of mine, his friend is big into barbecue. They have a really successful barbecue team. So we go down to Mississippi and we go into his mom's house, and there's a mason jar of bacon fat. And she says, "This is my fat. This is what I use. Whenever I cook bacon, pour it off, scoop it out, use it to cook whatever it is." And you're just extending your ingredient, right? Like you're taking something and you're extending it. You're using it for another purpose, which helps
Right.
with the budget too, which is nice.
Totally, right? Like that's kind of zero waste sort of mentality, right? Like eat the bones to make your stock and your sauces and stuff like that, right? You don't want to you want to throw out like the least amount possible.
Right. Yeah, and going on like that charcoal thing, I was lucky enough when I was in culinary school, Massimo Bottura, who had like the #1 restaurant in the world for a few years. His team was in New York and they were doing an event and they used the school to prep all their stuff. So my class, we were lucky enough. They asked who would want to volunteer and kind of help out the team. I was like, hell yeah. #1 restaurant in the world. Why wouldn't I do that? So
That's amazing.
they took their vegetable scraps, right, that would typically end up in the trash. They burned them down into charcoal. They crusted their filet mignons with them. They sous vide them, which is immersion, water bath, and they cooked them and kind of like what you're doing with the lamb chops. But it was all about zero waste. They're like, why are we going to waste stuff? If it's available, use it. And I preach this a lot, for Firehouse cooking, especially. When you buy fresh herbs, right, they're going to go bad pretty quick if you don't use them all. So figure out a way to use them maybe for the next meal. So you need cilantro, which Jeremy hates, but you need cilantro for the tacos tonight. Maybe tomorrow night you're going to use them for fajitas. Figure out a way to don't let them go to waste.
And even the stems have a ton of flavor too. So if you're pureeing a sauce, or I don't know, do you ever use a chimichurri?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, love that.
Right. So there you go. You have some extra stems, toss that in there. It's just flavor. It's just extra flavor.
All too often, I think
Skirt steak with chimichurri, forget it, man.
Come on. That's, you know what? If you add
one of my favorites.
If you put the charcoal rub on that steak and add the chimichurri, it's mind blowing. It's unreal.
That sounds fantastic. All right, where are we? Shop talk is good, and we got a lot more shop talk. I mean, we haven't even talked firefighting yet, for God's sake. So,
it's a fire show, right?
Yeah. That part. Michael is a veteran. He's a 15-year on the line fireman in Vancouver. So, I mean, he's not just the chef, man. He brings it to the table. He goes to work every day. So,
and from what I understand, he's in a rescue company, right?
Sorry?
Are you on rescue?
I'm on the so we have 4 halls in the city that have heavy rescues. So we're the RIT team, heavy jaws. So we're those specialists on that team there. 4 halls out of the 20 in Vancouver have that. So I've been lucky enough to get onto that squad.
Nice. So
Yeah.
your share of work. I love that. So, you know, a meal like this, a 30-minute meal goes a long way in a busy house, no?
Yeah, absolutely it does. You got to have a meal that you can get on quick and a meal that you can recover too, right?
Yeah.
So
Recover is the big part. Yeah, absolutely.
because I mean, really, it's inevitable. It's inevitable that you're gonna get tapped out during a cook. Like it might not happen today, it might not happen tomorrow, but it's gonna happen. So, and that's the thing. You know, talking about the Firehouse and the meals too. I know we were kind of chatting about that a little bit earlier on, and I know that like for a lot of people ask, like, you know, what's the deal with firemen and cooking, like firefighters and cooking, and it's the way I explain it is it's like. And it was brought up my buddy Brandon, who hates the cilantro. He's one of the heads of our critical incident stress team too. Like basically like wrote the program. This guy he's an amazing guy. Anyway, so it's a way for us to diffuse and de-stress, right? Like it's the family sitting around the table having that meal, and you sit there and you can bullshit about the calls that you were on or something that you just saw, and you do it as a crew, you do it as a family. You cook and you eat and you sit at that table, and no matter what you do in the course of a shift, you go to your fires, your car accidents, your medical calls. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You're always sitting down having that meal together. So I think that is like the major thing that brings cooking and firefighting together is that fact that we are like a family when we're in that house, and it is a way to diffuse and de-stress and just bullshit and be with each other.
Yeah, no doubt. It's the meal's a vehicle. The kitchen table is a place of refuge, you know, where you can get your balls broken constantly.
Yeah.
And then you can also
if you're not getting them broken, that means they don't like you.
That's very true. At least where we are, AJ.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, this Northeast mentality.
Break your balls, that means
Oh,
good chance they don't like you.
yeah, you got it, Michael. You got to have thick skin in the Northeast, man. There's no doubt, you know.
What is it? It's 8 o'clock here. So what is it, like 2 in the afternoon where you are?
5 o'clock.
Right off the coast of Japan, right, or something like that.
Well, we're in Canada, so it's 5 o'clock and we got a foot of snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he shoveled his way to the supermarket to get these ingredients.
All right, AJ, what do you got going on? You got your kebabs out?
I'm gonna throw. Yeah, I got them out. So I left a little bit of the fat cap. You could kind of see that. I left a little bit of the fat cap on, and I also, when I skewered them, I kept the fat on the same side. So I'm gonna put the fat side down. That'll help that fat render out. Whereas if I mixed it up, you know, you might end up with a tough piece, which I'm trying to avoid here. And I also have them out room temp.
There you go.
That's another thing that I think people kind of overlook. You know, whether it's a kebab, a pork chop, a steak, you know, it doesn't have to come right out of the refrigerator. What happens when you come right out of the refrigerator is you cool that pan down.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna cool down regardless, but you really cool it down, and now you're fighting it. And so let your meat come up to room temperature before you put it on the grill, put it in the pan, put it in the oven, whatever it may be. All right?
Yeah.
So throw them on the grill. Hopefully I don't light up.
When you talk about the fat cap real quick on lamb, right? Because, you know, Michael, you're doing lamb pops behind you too, right? So you have a real thick layer of fat that usually you trim, no?
Yes, yeah. So I took that layer of fat off, and then I just save it for. I do use sous vide sometimes, or if I'm making a sauce, I just toss it in there. You know, like if you're doing a prime rib, and sometimes you leave that fat cap on while you're cooking the primer, and you use that fat for flavor. I just keep that pat of fat around and use it whenever I see fit. I know it's like AJ. You guys must know AJ being Italian. You can't throw out the Parmesan rind, right? Like that's like the fat cap. That's the fat cap of cheese. You got to keep that because you throw that in a sauce and it just adds
that
flavor.
fat cap of cheese.
The fat cap and cheese. Right?
I'm stealing that shit.
Yo, write that here. I'll write it down for you, AJ, since you're cooking. I'll write it down.
Did you say cap or cat? I
I think it's
I can help you with
that cap situation.
I think I can.
I'm gonna try to not put my hood on. Which
Why don't you put your hood up? Because we really don't need the brothers showing up when your alarm goes off. So
yeah. Especially
Yeah.
But I think that's something, AJ, that's something to talk about too, though, right? Is
Yeah.
people think about things like that. But, you got to have, I can see from the view behind you, you have a pretty good industrial size range in your home kitchen, right?
Yeah.
You got to be careful. I mean, people overwhelm a grill plate real quick and it smokes out your whole house, right? I mean, if you got, if your kebabs are sitting in oil or something, or just a lot of fat, you left the fat cap on that lamb. When you put that on there, man, that thing's gonna start chugging.
Cooking is all heat management.
Right.
So when I put the kebabs on, I crank the heat up because that kebab hitting it is gonna cool it down.
Right.
In a minute or so, I'm gonna lower it back down. Heat management. I'm listening. I'm hearing what's going on behind me. I'm smelling it. But yeah, you got to be careful. Anytime you cook, you have to be careful.
Sure.
Especially if you don't want the guys you work with showing up to your house. Which, knock on wood, hasn't happened yet.
You're not gonna live that one down, brother.
So it's funny, right? We do with the Vancouver Fire Department. We have this thing called Fire in Your Kitchen.
Yeah, talk about it.
And what it is, it's and you're talking about setting off alarms, right? Like there's two ways to get one in Vancouver. We lend our services to different galas around the city. So at the end of the month, we're doing a virtual one because of the quarantine lockdown. They decided to do a virtual gala for the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Canada. And they auction off the Vancouver firefighters to come to your house and cook a fancy plated dish. So we do those, or you can go on our website, on the Vancouver Firefighters website, and you can buy one. It's all charity. So if you do it through a gala, part of it goes towards the gala's charity, and part of it comes back to the Vancouver Firefighters Charitable Society.
Nice.
Yeah, and then so it's funny because there's more. It does happen when we set off the alarm, the fire alarms in people's houses, because you're not used to the kitchens that you're in.
Heads, man. Cover the heads.
and then so it's it can be embarrassing too, right? Like the rig shows up and it's like all the guys get off the rig and it's guys and I know it's pretty cliche, but we like to a lot use it's a gimmick. Like I like to use a chef's torch when finishing meals tableside and stuff like that. Just make it a little bit fancier, bring a little bit of a show to these
Sure,
people that
absolutely.
there, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you're sitting there torching an octopus tentacle and the alarm goes off and it's all
You tell them it's all part of the show. It's all part of the show.
Totally, it's all part of the show.
Speaking of the show, I made it a point. I made a rule that Michael couldn't use his friggin' tweezers. Okay.
Yeah.
Because we want to keep this somewhat Firehouse.
All right, well, hold on. So AJ, talk about that, right? Because people are listening right now that might not be.
What color tweezers, right?
Yeah. What are you using tweezers for?
Tweezers.
Oh, hey.
You know what, Mike? You go. You use them more than I do. You go.
No, so you know what? It's the tweezers. I don't know how to answer this without sounding like a douche.
God, the tweezers are right here.
Listen, AJ just set you up to sound like a douche.
Yeah.
You know what? I've got a pair of rainbow colored tweezers that my daughter picked out for me. It's hey, she's my sous chef. I showed her the website. I'm like, which one should I get, Lily? And she's like, those ones. Done. I'm not gonna argue.
You're
not gonna argue with it.
Yeah,
but,
got yourself out of that one real quick.
When we're doing the fancy plating for these Fire in Your Kitchen dinners, just to give it that little bit of just a little bit extra when you're putting microgreens or flowers on the plate for them. It's just for precision, really,
Sure.
Just for precision. So you're not crumpling like if you're gonna put an herb like a leaf of parsley or a flower petal, you're not gonna
Destroy it.
crush it with the sausage fingers.
Have you ever used a tweezer in the Firehouse?
No. Oh God, no. No. Yeah, no. Like you said, time and a place, right?
Time and a place. Time and a place.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back on track here. Where are we? Where are we headed?
Okay, so right now I'm gonna get the lamb is still pretty rare. I'm gonna go for a medium rare, so it's a little bit longer on that. I'm gonna get the hummus going right now. So I've got all the ingredients in there. I've got the tahini, the beets, chickpeas, lemon juice, salt, mint, just a touch. I mean, you can use avocado oil. I like using a neutral flavored oil for it. Some people use olive oil, veg oil. You know what? Whatever you like the taste of, go for it, right? I put a little bit in there to get it started, and then I add it in slowly as it's blending, and so it emulsifies the oil to it. So when the mixture comes together and you have that hummus, once it's been sitting for a while, it stays in the form it's in. It doesn't start to separate. Because if you add all the oil in now, and that's true for like salad dressings or sausage or whatever you're doing, if you add that in all in the beginning, like just toss it all in the blender and go, over time, it's going to separate. The oil is going to separate from the rest of the mixture. So that's all we're doing. That's all we're doing with it.
Nice. You know, you want
Yeah.
fat water to play nice in the sandbox. So
Sorry?
if, you know, you add too much fat or too much water, you know, you ruin that symbiotic relationship that they're having. So, like you said,
There you go.
Trickle it in.
So I'm gonna get that going right now, and the chicken is done. I just got it on simmer. It's ready to go.
And real quick, Mike, talk about two things. One, you're finishing your lamb on the grill top, on the cast iron. You're not going to finish it.
Yeah, I'm putting it in a non-stick right now.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just finishing off there. I like my lamb like a medium rare to rare.
Yo, I agree with you 100%.
So
But you're gonna do them strictly on a stovetop. You're not gonna put them in the oven, finish them in the oven after searing.
no, you know what? Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I'll toss it in there. But right now I got the heat up way too high because I might end up putting the flatbread in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's just adapting, right? Like firefighters, we figure it out. So
Absolutely.
I'm gonna get
Put my lamb over.
Yep, do it.
We're ready to go. A couple minutes.
Okay. Do you so the lamb kebabs are on, right? And then what else? The labna, right? You still have to do that?
No, I did that before. It was just lemon juice and grated garlic. A little bit of salt.
In Greek yogurt, right?
Greek yogurt. You use full fat when you can. I didn't have full fat. I had 0%, right? So to compensate for that, I used a little bit of olive oil because 0% or like 2% or low fat yogurt, it's gonna have like a chalky mouthfeel. Which if you're trying to keep your fat to a limit, obviously that's what you got to use. But if you want to get rid of that chalky mouthfeel, you add a little bit of olive oil, and you're basically bringing it back to life. That's one way to look at it. It's grated garlic. Highly recommend, and I use it in the Firehouse all the time. Micro.
Yeah.
It's
And
good.
you did your garlic on that, so it's just shredded to
Super
paste
fine.
almost,
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. It's super fine. You could use it for lemon zest, orange zest. There's so many.
You didn't roast the garlic, right? This is raw garlic
No,
that you put in?
raw. You're looking for that kind of pungent bite.
Okay.
Listen, if you like roasted garlic, go for it.
Yeah.
The rules, I'm not gonna stop you from doing that.
Okay.
But
AJ, your cutting board camera is out again, so you might want to just reset that. There you go. Perfect. And then AJ, you just finished it with a squeeze of lemon juice,
lemon juice and
some herbs.
lemon juice, garlic, and salt. That's it.
Okay. Good.
all right.
How's that hummus look?
It's good. Here, let me. So we got the hummus is done. It's got a nice pink color, and then you know what? Again, it just for the show. I love beets personally. It's really good for you. This is an easy way to incorporate it into a meal. So hummus super healthy, right? Like you got the chickpeas, lemon, garlic. You add these beets in there. I don't know. They call beets a superfood. Who might argue, right? Like it's.
I absolutely love roasted beets. Love them.
then it just plays well off of the rest of what's going on here. So
when you talk about hummus, right? So often people buy, like, they know it's good for you, but everybody buys it in the store. Nobody makes homemade hummus. You know what I mean? It's pretty easy to make, right? I mean,
you know what? It is. It's super easy to make. It's one of those things where I think it is really intimidating at first, because it is, especially in the fire culture, this whole Middle Eastern cuisine is a little bit foreign, right? So you're like, hey, hey, bud, can you make some hummus for this dish, right? It's going to intimidate a lot of people. It's not really second nature to us here, but once you've done it a couple times, you can add anything you want. I know you don't like cilantro, but you can do like roasted pepper and cilantro hummus.
Sure.
Regular hummus. You can throw in sun-dried tomatoes. It's basically the chickpeas, lemon, tahini, salt, oil, garlic. That's blank paper, right? And then you can add in herbs, other vegetables. I've been in the store and I've seen like Thai green curry hummus, and like just crazy. It's like whatever you can think of. And worst case scenario, it tastes bad, and then you don't make it again. But that's the thing about cooking, right? I mean, I learn something new every day, and that's basically where I come up with a lot of things. Like sometimes it's like, no, I don't think I'm gonna go with that again. And then other times I'm like, oh, okay, and I need to write this down because I really like it. So
yeah, good. AJ, kebabs are off.
Kebabs are off. I don't know if you can see that.
Nice. Got some color on them.
Color. It's a little more challenging using a grill, cast iron grill on a stovetop.
Right.
To get even cooking. Basically, the heat that you're getting is coming from the pan itself, right? Whereas in a grill environment, you're getting, convection. You got hot air going all around, so it's a little more challenging. But I could feel like, I definitely have some unevenness here, just based off of that fact. Not happy with that, but it's gonna taste delicious. It marinated overnight.
And you're a medium rare guy too on your lamb.
Yeah. I think it depends on the cut.
Yeah.
But,
True.
Something like this, you don't want to go too crazy on it. I don't think anything really should be cooked till it's like dead twice, but that's another thing with like Firehouse cooking. I don't know if you guys experience it, but it's like, hey, I want one steak black and blue. I need the other one, like a hockey puck. I need, and everything in between.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but typically when you're not cooking, you're gonna eat it the way it's cooked.
Well, I usually leave the grill on. Right?
There's not so many guys that can cook it to the right temperature, right? It's either raw or it's done. You know what I mean? Like
restaurant, right? Like this is
except for Michael, because he's got a house full of guys that help him with the cooking, and they all know how to cook over there. And
like 12 guys in his Firehouse, right?
Right.
We've got a pretty good crew. Everybody's pretty keen on learning and cooking and stuff. So it's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a really good. And then you know what? When you got a guy cooking for you, it's kind of hard to be like, hey, no man, throw that back on the grill for a little bit longer. Or although and AJ, you'll agree with this 100%. Jeremy, I don't know where your stance is on this, but my buddy Brandon, the guy that I brought up earlier, the critical incident stress guy, he was a junior guy on my crew years ago. We don't stay in the same fire halls in Vancouver. We move around, so we're not with the same crew for our whole career. Depending on if you join a specialty, like how I'm with the heavy rescue program,
right?
You move around. So, and Brandon will never forget this, but he came. He was doing spaghetti and meatballs, and he came in with like a plastic jug of Prego, and I lost my mind. I lost my mind, and then from now on, like he's just like he makes his own sauce. He roasts the tomatoes. He brings in the San Marzanos. He does everything from scratch now, and that I think that's the kind of stuff that at our hall anyway. Well, if somebody brings in something that is subpar, or we'll call them out on it. I mean,
Yeah.
just throw in that extra dollar, get some fresh basil. Throw in the extra dollar, get the good can of tomatoes. It's excuse me.
I understand that completely. So that leads me down the road of, and I don't want to take away the fact that you're doing your flatbread right now. So let's talk about that. But I also want to talk about, and AJ and I have talked about this because a lot of questions come up about Probies. Now more than ever, I don't think guys know how to cook. And so these guys walk into the Firehouse and they're expected to cook and do a Probie meal or be the guy that's helping the main chef of the house to do all the work, and they don't know how. They just don't know how. Now, Michael, you being in a rescue company, you probably have more seasoned guys that have been on the line for a while, so you're not seeing a lot of Probies come through the rescue company. But in every other Firehouse in this country, you got Probies coming through that might not be able to cook, yet they're expected to cook. So tips, pointers, meal ideas. I mean, that's a tough one.
You know what? Actually, we in Vancouver, we have, when a Probie comes on, they don't touch the kitchen for 6 months.
Wow.
They
don't touch the kitchen?
No, they're not allowed in the kitchen for 6 months. And at the end of that 6 months, they put on a big meal for the crew. We basically drill them for the first 6 months and keep them.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So that's how we do it there. And then we sometimes do a 6 month probationer and then a second 6 month probationer. So sometimes at our rescue hall, we'll get a second 6 month probationer, and then they're sort of in the kitchen helping out then. But yeah, I would say just keep it simple. Like don't try to break the mold. There's nothing wrong with like a good steak and a Caesar salad. Right. So learn how to do that. Learn how to make a good spaghetti and sauce. Don't bring in Prego. Just don't do it at all.
Yeah.
And then
I think a lot of people are to like cook with if all you know is how to make a spaghetti and meatballs, then cook that. Right?
Yeah.
Like, there's no point, especially as a Probie, trying to like learn how to cook Moroccan lamb when you've never cooked it before. So now
there's no point.
12 guys that you know how to make it. Not the right, cook with and keep it simple.
There's no reason to give guys the excuse to bust your chops, man. Yeah. I mean,
the more you fly under the radar, the better off you are. Right?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Guys are looking for something, right? I mean, come on.
Especially
I want to show you that flatbread real quick here. The stuff that Lily needed out for me. So this is half of it right here, and you can see it's just basically pulling apart. It's just let it rest, and the gluten relaxes. I've just cut it into more manageable pieces, and I threw it in the pan. And I'm just going to quickly get in the pan, a hot pan, crisp it on the outside, and keep it nice and a little bit gooey on the inside. But really what you can do, where you going back to Jeremy, how you're talking about how this cuisine is more of a family style, with your hands. You can roll this out so it's long, right? Like a yard long. And I know I'm going to say a meter. I don't even know what a yard is, to be honest with you, because football has been on. I don't know what a yard is anymore.
No worries.
But these are the ones where you can take it and you just rip a piece off. Right. So it's not even portioned out like a pita bread or a naan bread. You just grab the chunk and you just rip it off. And that's how this bread is meant to be.
Yeah. And putting it in the pan, you're going to get high spots on that. You're going to get some dark color on some spots and some light color on the other. And it's going to be pulled apart and just cooked on the inside. Right. I mean, that sounds so good. It sounds so good.
This must suck for you, Jeremy. Honestly.
For who? Me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Just you got to watch us cook, and then you can't even eat it.
I didn't even have dinner tonight. So, but tomorrow is my wife's 50th birthday party, which
happy birthday.
She's going to kill me for saying that, but I say it for one reason. It's a milestone birthday, and we can't even celebrate. Like, I mean, we can celebrate at home, but we can't go out. Like, we're an out family. When I talked about my family being foodies and so on, I mean, we enjoy cocktails, we enjoy good food, we enjoy good restaurants, and we do that. That's our hobby, right? Like, that's what we do. Okay. For us not to be able, I was trying to make reservations in Connecticut today, for tomorrow because Connecticut just opened back up for outdoor dining.
We were just talking about that before. Yeah.
I was trying, but they won't allow any tables over 5. So, and we have 8.
Split them up. 4 and 4.
Do it. So, but anyway, yeah. So you're right, though. This is killing me. I'm sitting in my office. I did pour a glass of wine instead of a beer, you know, and so on. But the next one we do, AJ, the first one we were supposed to do was supposed to be me and you in your kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but now Michael just invited us to Canada, so we're gonna go to Vancouver, and we're gonna cook and have. We're gonna have flatbread.
We're just starting to open the doors back up. Actually, it was, I think today the restaurants are starting to open up with the new protocols, and it's slowly getting back to wherever it's going to be. Which honestly, like we honestly don't know at this point right now.
None of us do.
Yeah.
NIR is like ground zero. You know, it's
and you know it's a lot of the programs actually we do with the Fire in the Kitchen. We've got 3 in particular that are just like from us, like from the Vancouver firefighters, and we do what's called clothes for kids, snacks for kids, and sports for kids. So It's inner city kids in Vancouver, and we provide them with, like, for instance, snacks for kids, school kids that don't have it, that just don't have the food, and oh yeah, that's nice. And now that school's out, we're still finding a way to get the meals to these kids and deliver these meals. And it's, you know, it's completely, there's so many moving parts to this. Like, so many of the brothers and sisters are, I think we're back. All right. I'm gonna have to get a charger in this thing soon. Yeah, we're, totally lost my train of thought, but yeah, there's so many moving parts to the charitable here, and there's so many guys and gals that pitch in and do the work, and we're able to get these like awesome programs and stuff like the going to these people's houses and cooking these dinners like helps do that. So it's pretty awesome.
That's fantastic. AJ, plating, or where are you?
I could plate. I'm waiting for Mike. I think
I get it. No, that's fine. Michael, you got the flatbread going. The hummus is done, waiting to be plated, right? Talk about the hummus real quick. What can we do with the hummus? Are you going to put that with the chicken, or is that on the side for the flatbread?
That's going to be on the side for the flatbread. You take it, you can throw it into the chicken as well. It's basically it's a condiment, right? Like it's the it's my Middle Eastern ketchup. I mean, you can put it on anything. So use it, dip the bread in, take a bite. You can dip the lamb in it, throw it on top of the chicken. It's so versatile. It's just such a great condiment, really. So I'm gonna throw it in a bowl on its own with a spoon, and then you can do whatever you want with it.
I love it.
Mike, because maybe some guys are like a little hesitant about making hummus, especially in the Firehouse. Do you think it'd be cool? Or there's ways to kind of like dress up a store-bought? Because I think that's another thing that you could do in the Firehouse if you're kind of like, whether you're a novice or you're just uncomfortable. I like to do that with barbecue sauces if I'm short on time. If I don't want to make a barbecue sauce from scratch, I'll take a store-bought that I like, maybe throw some pureed apples or peaches in it. Do you think that's something you could do with like a hummus? Just dress it up a little bit?
Oh, 100%. Take that hummus, throw some roasted peppers in it, some garlic.
Nice.
And then just blend it back up again. Add as much oil as you need to it. Throw some more lemon juice. Like it's like you said before, it's really just a blank piece of paper that you can color whatever you want on it. And so this is the flatbread I got going here.
Look at that.
So that looks fantastic. So it's still a little bit pliable, but it's got that crispy bits to it. And then this is just, so when I said you do it like a yard or a meter or whatever it is, you just take it and just give it one of those. And then that's
so good.
That's
So your daughter Lily helped you make it. My daughter Lily will eat that. Michael, my daughter Lily, her favorite vegetable is the potato, and she loves bread. Like she can't get enough bread. So if she saw that, that's a home run, man. She'd eat that whole thing in a second. But
you know what? That's the
this.
gate. That's the gateway bread to make.
Yeah. And I'm gonna talk to you off. I'm gonna talk to you afterwards. Get that recipe because I want to do it. I want to make it at home, and so on. But I think hummus is one of those unique things. Like for myself, I'm not a big chickpea guy, and the only way I knew chickpeas originally was just in salads, right? A raw chickpea thrown in a salad. You eat it. It's mushy. It's chalky. It's and then you start eating like then my wife who is health conscious about her diet and how she eats, you start eating hummus and you go, oh, this isn't bad, this is good. You put it with a pita chip, then you start putting it with vegetables, right? And it becomes a good snack. And the fact that you guys just brought up that you can dress up store-bought hummus is fantastic. I mean, I think that's smart. I never thought of that, and I'll tell you, I think going forward, like that's a really good way to jazz up something in a jar, right? Is, put some roasted peppers or something else, garlic or something with it just to jazz it up a little bit more, a little olive oil, and off we go.
Absolutely. Make it your own, right?
And it's a healthy alternative. It beats eating Oreos, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna start plating.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I'm gonna do this technique. Make shit look fancy. It's called the.
Here we go.
Right?
Wait, hold on, AJ. I'm gonna write that one down. Make shit look fancy.
This is how you make shit look fancy. It's all about smearing and swooshing. Okay.
Here we go.
So
this is how you win Triple G, right? You gotta smoosh and.
Yeah, I smooshed a little bit, smeared a little bit. So I take my labna, right, which is that strained Greek yogurt. I'm gonna dollop it, right? See how I'm doing that? In one side. And then I'm going to take my spoon and I'm going to swoosh it. Look at that. You see that? Beautiful. So what this does is it just adds some fancy stuff to look at, right?
Pizzazz, man. Pizzazz.
But, when everything's in here, I'm able to kind of add the labna as I want it. So there's a little more to it than just like looking pretty. If I dolloped it on top, you're kind of forced to eat it all together, right? By having it on the side of the bowl, now I could at least add it a little bit. Okay, I want a little more, and I add it. My chickpeas that are crispy, I think you would probably love, Jeremy, just because they got a lot of texture to them.
Oh, hell yeah. No, I'm in. Listen, both your meals are right up my alley. And I always tell my wife we need to try different cuisines more often than we do. And I think everybody needs to. I think everybody needs to try different cuisine. But you're right, man. Every time we try something different, roasted chickpeas, I bet you they're fantastic with that spice rub on them, AJ. I bet they're delicious.
So I got my lamb. I just took off the skewer. I'm going to add a little more of that za'atar seasoning.
Love za'atar. Za'atar is so good.
It's similar to the dukkha that, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but
yeah,
that Mike is making, but like I said, it's got no nuts in it, but it's got that sumac, so it's got that like tart, salty thing going on. It's got the thyme. You could use oregano. You could use marjoram, which is I think my favorite. It's just it elevates everything: meat, vegetables, dips. You could put this like in hummus or in the flatbread, like he was saying before. I'm gonna add my pickled onion. Quick pickled, quick pickled. And then here's the part that I could never do in the Firehouse, but I'm going to do it because I'm home. I've got some tender herbs. So I've got some dill from the garden, some mint, some parsley, and a little more oregano. I'm just going to sprinkle that on top. And I think fresh herbs are one of those things that people overlook a lot, right? Like if you're looking for a way to kind of add some brightness to the dish that you're cooking, that's the way to do it. And a little olive oil in the lemon. That's it. I'm done.
Awesome.
I'll do like
AJ, put that. All right, we can see it. I just wanted on the cutting board view. I wanted to get a good shot of it, but yeah, just hold it up. Just hold it up a little bit so we can see it. It looks fantastic, brother.
That looks awesome, buddy.
Yeah, that looks fantastic. That's good. And not only that, but for the Firehouse, that's a good portion size.
Yeah, right? Listen, like you're gonna probably want a little bit extra so that guys want seconds. You have to have seconds. That's the rule. Like
Of course.
there is no chance you put food on the table, guys aren't going to want seconds. So I always try to make more. But going back to what he said about the healthier stuff, make more vegetables than meat. Two things. It's healthier and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Like chickpeas, chickpeas is like $2. You know, a lamb sirloin's, you know, what, $8.99 a pound or something. So it's like
it looks fantastic. And you're 100% correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the thing is this, the guys that enjoy eating will kick in a few more bucks, but you always have those guys on tour that care about how much meal costs. And so, you know, and they might not be into food, right? Guys that enjoy food don't mind spending a few extra dollars.
Exactly.
Michael, I see you plating, brother.
You know, AJ started out with the hockey stick. When I was buying hockey sticks, you know, I would spend a ton of dough on like I need this Easton this or this CCM stick that, right? So you're talking about like the amount of money on. That's just like an instance of things you spend money on, but you're putting this in your body, right? Like spend that extra dollar, get something good. Don't get the pack of meat that's expiring in 2 hours. You know, spend that extra dollar, get something that's good for you because you're putting it in your body.
Great point. Great point. So listen, if we could do our little part through what we did in the last hour and a half, 90 minutes on the dot, you know, then we're bringing something to the table here to educate. So Michael, let's talk about your plating. Let's talk about the final dish. What do you have?
Okay. All right, here we go. I've got a bit of a platter going on here. I'm gonna get Lisa. You have Lily for a sec, or Ollie?
Ollie.
Let's see if I just need a. No. The only reason I'm gonna get these is because I have them. I actually grow edible flowers in my garden, so. You are
going to use tweezers. Okay.
No, I'm gonna do it with the sausage fingers. I'm gonna emerald lagasse it. I'm gonna bam the flowers.
There you go. Yeah, no, you can't. You got to place them gently.
Yeah.
That flatbread looks fantastic, and I love how easy it was. Right, like super easy.
It's so easy to do.
Looks good. Lily, I see Lily. She did a fantastic job. Thank you, Lily.
You want flowers from the garden?
Can I have a bowl?
Yes, you can have a bowl, kiddo. 100%. Perfect. You can put them right in that. Okay, so Lily's gonna go to our garden, and no, Lily, the back garden. She's gonna go and grab some flowers.
So give me the rundown. We got the charcoal lamb pops up front, right?
Yeah. Okay. So you got the charcoal lamb pops up front, a little bit of mint, pomegranate, and just a splash of tahini sauce on top.
So when you say mint you got chiffonade mint, right, which is thin strips of mint, right, fresh mint, and then just pomegranate seeds sprinkled over the top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pomegranate and mint.
Right? We have the flatbread. We've got actually I can hold this up here. So this is the tagine chicken.
Nice.
It has the pickled onions, the dukkha, some feta. It has all the fruit in there with the chicken that has the ras el hanout seasoning on there. And then again, if anybody wants that, just send me a message. More than happy to share it. And then the hummus, which is going to be finished in a sec with the flowers. Always give it a nice little drizzle of olive oil on top. And then
it's funny, AJ did the same thing, and I think talking about olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, just finishing with that little bit just puts that, you know, it's that like finishing touch. AJ, you do the same thing on yours.
Yeah, when you cook olive oil, or any oil for that matter, when you cook it, you destroy a lot of those nice compounds that make olive oil good, right?
Makes sense.
So by finishing it, and I do this all the time with pasta, I do it with soup, you can do it with anything, really. You kind of reintroduce the stuff that makes olive oil great. So that's why I like it. I'm just sitting here eating some kebabs.
I saw that.
Dish.
All right, Michael, you showed us the tagine chicken, and then what else?
Yeah, and so here's the hummus. You can see the hummus here. We've got some roasted chickpeas on there that, similar to how AJ was doing his. I just did them beforehand. A little bit of mint, just some micro radish kind of sprouts that I had in the fridge. A little bit of feta, some mint, some dukkha. It's ready to go. You just dip, and then that extra little bit of olive oil.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then this is like total family meal, right? Like you can do this for fairly inexpensive. And before just showing, for instance, you have the 50th, your wife's 50th coming up, and who knows, maybe you'd have to end up cooking for her because you can't get out to a place. You can get those pansies, like the flowers from any Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever you got around there, and they're edible, right? So if you want to wow them before all the firefighters turn on me and just like, who's this guy cooking with flowers? They're literally just in your garden, and you can eat them. And you want to wow that date coming over. You want to just you're having a dinner party, and you want to just step it up a little bit. Couple edible flowers on there, and then it's just the game is elevated.
Yeah. So Jeremy, so what he's saying is go to Home Depot and go to the guy working in the flower section and say, hey, what are these flowers can I eat? See how that works out.
Yeah. Where are the edible flowers? Because I'm cooking at the Firehouse tonight.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, fellas, I can't thank you both enough. What a great episode. Incredible food, great storytelling. Really just talking about the food. Tonight was 2 dishes that typically you're not going to see at the Firehouse unless you two are in those firehouses. And AJ, through your page, you put out some incredible photos from guys all over the country, all over the world for that sake, that are cooking really incredible meals in the Firehouse. And what you guys did tonight wasn't challenging and overburdening, and anybody could really cook. Anybody that knows how to cook could do what you guys did tonight. And I think that's the message we need to get across, that in our firehouses across this great land, man, we need to share the fact that there's other cuisines and other things that you could do that are a healthy alternative and delicious food by how you prepare them and how you cook it. And you guys crushed it tonight. Michael, AJ, thank you, man. Awesome time. I appreciate it. I do want to take a few more minutes just to talk about each of you. AJ, real quick, Fork and Hose Company. Just tell me a little bit about Fork and Hose and where you're headed.
Fork and Hose Company, you just nailed it. The main goal of it is to inspire people to get in the kitchen and cook. So whether it's cuisine that you're used to cooking or not, it's just get in the kitchen and cook. And I love sharing dishes from guys like Michael, up in Canada, and it's Moroccan inspired. I love sharing that stuff with everybody. So there's some things going on in the near future, and us and National Fire Radio have a delicious future ahead of us. Put it that way.
I think there's a lot of good that's going to be coming down the pipe, and you take a guy like myself that enjoys cuisine. I'm no stranger to it. I'm not going to be shy about it. I love it, and I think what you guys bring, but what I enjoy about it is very much what National Fire Radio is all about, is the tradition, the culture, the storytelling, the kitchen table, the back step. I mean, that's what we all enjoy about the fire service. I mean, we all love going to fires, but we love the other parts of it too. And food and the kitchen are very much a part of all of that.
Well, we talked about it, right? What do you do every day in the firehouse? You eat, right? You don't train. You don't go to fires every day. You eat,
right?
And
you do that every day, and you do it together.
Yeah. So, Michael, give me a little. AJ, thank you, brother. And you and I, we got a lot. This is going to become a regular thing.
Amen.
And there's a lot more to come. So, thank you, brother, from your kitchen tonight. I truly appreciate it. Michael, thank you for hopping on tonight, pal. The pleasure.
Guys,
you and I have not met before until tonight. And I consider you a friend and a brother, and looking forward to eating your cuisine one of these days. We'll get together. But
likewise.
Man, you talked about all the good you're doing in the community, but give me a little bit. We lost him.
No, I'm back.
He's back.
There you go.
Give me a little rundown.
My handle is at Varga Cooks, and then that's originally how I met AJ.
Awesome.
Was through Instagram, and I think like the social media is bringing that world that much closer. So I know for a fact that a ton of the guys on our job are cooking their meals and they're tagging Fork and Hose Co. In it, and I'm seeing that, and it's just this huge trend, and absolutely love what you're doing, and I can't wait to see what the two of you do. And AJ, I mean, I gotta say thank you for all the love you've given me over like this past couple of years, like all the reposts, and I remember the first time you reposted something, I was talking to the guys, and I go, this guy just reposted my food. This guy, he's got over 10,000 followers. I can't believe that, right? And so I just really appreciate the love you've given me. For myself, we're waiting to get back in the kitchen with the crew for the Fire in the Kitchens. I've got my side gig going, which was doing private dinners and sort of pop-up style events, which have definitely been on the back burner right now because of COVID and the quarantine. So it's allowing me to get back in my own kitchen and do some practicing, hang out with the family. But I'm just looking forward to pushing forward, seeing what you guys are doing, and getting back in the kitchen with the guys from the Firehouse. There, I said Firehouse.
Firehouse, Fire Hall.
Yeah,
it's all the same. Listen, we all speak. Listen, the language might be a little bit different, but it's all the same love, man. It's the same passion. It's the same love. I can't thank you enough for being here tonight. I will tell you this: if Fire in the Kitchen or any of your pop-ups, you need anything from us and from Fork and Hose and from National Fire Radio, we are on board 100%. AJ and I will board a plane and get to Canada one of these days. Some of the thoughts we have is taking this and actually going and knocking on the door and cooking in other firehouses and capturing that kitchen table story. So, Michael, you're going to be on the radar for that. And, I think there's a lot of good that's going to come down the pike with all of us. Thank you. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for trusting us with your story and cooking some food with your beautiful family tonight. We appreciate that. Thanks so much. AJ, as always, thank you, brother.
It's been great.
Love it. There's one thing about this job that just is the icing on the cake, and it's this. It's the shop talk, it's the fun, it's the camaraderie and the brotherhood that comes from it. You guys got me away from drinking craft beer tonight to do red wine with you guys. Salute, cheers. What a wonderful episode. You guys cook some incredible food. I'm gonna go have a frozen pizza now because it's like 9 o'clock here. You guys can have your wonderful food. But I will tell you, I'm very grateful for all of this. And Michael, thanks for trusting us tonight and being here with us. It means the world. AJ, your friendship means the world. And you two keep cooking and making this world better. Be safe. Take care. Everybody tuning in tonight on YouTube Live, thank you for checking us out. Fork and Hose Company on Instagram. And you have Varga Cooks on Instagram. Check them out. Like them. Follow them. These two guys are rock stars putting out incredible food, and they're incredible firefighters, and that's what it's all about. So thank you, everybody, tuning in tonight. Take care. Be safe.
Cheers. Stay safe, guys.
Cheers. Thank you. You still live?
Hang on.
Uh-oh. Jeremy's notorious for this.
So hold on. Will you play? I'm good at it now.
Where are my red Smarties? I said I wasn't going on without reds. Oh, we're still live.
You gotta talk to the green room.